Hello and welcome to another Doctor's Assistant 1 video. Today I'm doing a new news video and well, if you're new, see what I did there, the channel, it's basically like a little video diary, video vlog thing, yeah, that I do whenever really during the year, or how many months apart, or sometimes not that many months apart. But yeah, they're very rambly and random and don't have any real meaning. And what was I going to say? They're not really scripted, if you can already tell. And what else? Yeah, I did try and do one of these video thingies earlier today, this morning, 14th of June is today that I'm recording, 2022, 14th of June, 2022, weird. What was I going to say? I haven't done one of these videos in a long time, quite a long time, probably sort of summertime last year, I want to say, or maybe... yeah, maybe just before we came to this place, this house, and that, weird. I think, I could be wrong about that. I'd have to obviously check on my YouTube channel, but yeah, very, very weird when you put it, when you put it like that. I always get really sort of weirded out by these videos in so much as, like, I can never quite tell if people like watching these videos or if they don't, but then, you know, like, it doesn't bother me if this video only gets 2 views, let's say, like ever, or like less than 5 views, but then if it got like, I don't know, like 30 views and and that, or like a lot of views, then it's like, that would be weird to me, because it's like, I don't know, like I don't think these videos are very, well, personal to me. I mean, they kind of are and aren't, I guess. It's weird. It's like, that's the reason why I'm like, would anyone even care about these things? Because it's like, I'm not... It's weird how, like, as a... not even as a culture, but as people, because of the internet, everyone is so sort of... well, I don't want to say overexposed, but people are so sort of... yeah, like, share so much stuff, and yet I feel like, you know, like, the thing is though, like, I'm not, you know, spoiler alert, I'm not a celebrity. You know, who is Chris, nope, wrong one again, Chris Hemsworth from, like, Thor. He's a celebrity, and he has, like, however many, you know, bajillion, million, squillion, quintillion, you know, followers on, like, Twitter or something, or on Instagram, or whatever social media platform, you know, you want to go on about. And but I could have like a couple thousand, or he could have like a couple thousand. Obviously he'd have like 1.5 million followers, or, you know, maybe even more, like, I don't know, 2.5 million people following him on Instagram or something, or on Twitter. But the point is that, like, it's kind of bonkers, because it's like, I'm not, you know, spoiler alert, but I'm not Chris Hemsworth, so, like, it's weird though that, like, I can do the same, in that sense, I can do the same thing as him, and have, like, a platform, even though I'm not Chris Hemsworth, you know, like, it's kind of mental when you put it like that. And also, like, you know, people... you know, even though I'm very weirded out by me just rambling and raving and talking nonsense right now in this video, it's kind of bonkers to think, like, people make this their job or a career, you know, like, vlogging is a legitimate career, which is kind of just, like, that, I can't, that doesn't really sit right with me, you know, like, it just feels odd still, even though, like... I don't know if I've really watched many vlogs. Maybe that's why. But yeah, like, vloggers, or like people, you know, like, backpack around Europe and then video it. or like, you know, like people do cross-country road trips around America and then film that, which is fine, and that's way more interesting than this video, but like, it's just kind of bonkers because it's like, I don't know, like you could argue that's such a personal journey to go on that, like, why would you want to then show it with 1.1 million people? Like, you don't know all 1.1 million people. And someone once said something really poignant and really poetic in a video, and something that I was watching, I think once on YouTube or something somewhere, maybe it was on the news of all things, because apparently I'm secretly 60 and I still watch BBC Breakfast. No, I don't. Well, I very rarely do these days. But the point being that someone pointed out that even if you only had like 100 followers on Twitter or subscribers on a YouTube channel or whatever, 50, 100, sounds small, and those numbers are warped now because of the internet. I think numbers have, like, the value of a number is completely, like, people have no real perspective of that, because someone pointed out, like, imagine if you filled a room, any room in your house that you are hopefully watching, this video in, like, imagine filling that room with 50 to 100 people. Like, that would be insane. When you put it like that, that's, like, insane. And they're all there watching your content, or wanting to watch your content, or wanting to look at a picture you've put up on Instagram, or look at and like/share, or whatever, a tweet you've tweeted, even though it might be a joke, or it might be a political statement, or it might be just sharing something like, oh look, Bo-Katan is back in Star Wars Mandalorian Season 3. I like this. Thumbs up. Or, you wouldn't say I like this, but you know what I mean. This is fucking epic, and I can't wait to see... oh god, I'm blanking on the name of the actress now. Hashtag fake fan much. Oh my god, I really am blanking on the name. She was in Battlestar Galactica. Fuck me. If only I could edit and add this in post, but you know who I mean. Yeah, her. Bo-Katan, yeah, the actress. Oh my god, I was about to say Keely Hawes then. That's definitely not who plays Bo-Katan. But yeah, and then the actress could see that as well. It's kind of weird. It's bonkers though, as I say, in that sense, I'm doing something similar to Chris Hemsworth, as I say, but he's Thor and I am not, but we both have a platform, or share a platform and a place, or go to a similar place in I almost said the fucking metaverse then, but when you put it like that, that's kind of bonkers, It's kind of bonkers and scary and weird and odd to me, because again, in my mind, I'm just like, wait, what, and what's kind of really upsetting is that a lot of the time people use these things to just harass and attack people and celebrities in particular online, which is kind of just sad and pathetic and annoying, to say the least. Considering that I get the feeling that people who grew up in the sort of 70s and 80s, well, those people would still probably do the same thing, but the difference is I'd like to think that they might not, or not all of them would, and that, I don't know, it's hard to say really, because a lot of these people, I feel like sometimes as well, we forget that a lot of times people who are making stupid comments on the internet are actually just children, and I don't mean that as in an insult to people who are 30 or 40 or 50 doing these sorts of things. I'm not saying that those people are children. I'm actually saying that children are children, when I was younger, if and when I did stuff like that, or said a mean thing on a YouTube video about Doctor Who, YouTuber who said that they didn't understand a Doctor Who episode, then I'd tear them a new one and start being like in the comments like, how the fuck do you not understand this? You should just keep watching whatever show for simple dum-dums and that, you know. You don't have enough IQ to understand Rick and Morty sort of thing. You know, I have been probably that person. And what's kind of bonkers is like, because the internet is the internet, you can't really, even if you try and delete that sort of stuff, it just remembers, and that's kind of really damaging and bad. Because I guess as well, like, would people, you know, like when you go to job interviews, that people like search through that sort of stuff? Because, like, yeah, that's kind of bonkers and that. But yeah, or like people want you to be really squeaky clean, like Disney are really notorious for that, yet people aren't machines. That's the thing that I just don't get about like Disney and how corporate they are, that like they want everyone like James Gunn and that woman from again Mandalorian, not Bo-Katan, to the woman who was in series 1 of Mandalorian. She was like, you know, sort of taken off Mandalorian because of her political views, and it's like, well, you know, as long as she's not harming herself or anyone else, like, even if she's having some dodgy views, it's like, well, she should be allowed to have them, but, you know, it's just like, if it got to a point where she was, like, hurting other people and or herself, putting herself or anyone else in danger, then obviously I could understand Disney being like, yeah, no, we're going to get rid of her, but just, yeah, it's weird, because then it's like, you know, you don't really, shouldn't really have a platform as a big celebrity then, in that sense. You know, like Scarlett Johansson, I don't think she's very online, which is kind of bonkers, because she's like super duper famous and everyone lusts and thirsts over her, because of her being her, you know, for lack of a better term. But yeah, very strange. The Jodie Whittaker era. What a weird transition to make. Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about Jodie Whittaker era. It's kind of nuts to think, like, it feels like I've just sort of blinked and her era is coming to a close. It is, yeah, it's unnerving, it's kind of upsetting a little bit, because I only feel like she's just sort of found her feet in the last series, kind of like with Peter Capaldi, to be fair, but yeah, and also the fact that, like, the two, like, her 3 series kind of, for lack of a better term, marked with, like, a lot of weird shit that happened in my personal life, as it were. Like, in the sense that Series 11, her first series, started when I was starting at, like, a place called Specialist Autism Service. Then, like, Series 12 starts, like, January 1st, 2020, and then just finished literally a week or two before COVID-19 and lockdowns in the UK. So that, you know, that this series feels longer ago than, say, the Matt Smith and some of the Peter Capaldi era episodes in my mind. Like, some of, like, series 8, 9 and 10 feel more recent in a weird way, like, especially series 10. Maybe it's just because that one's a really weird comfort food one for me, because I always go back to series 10. Sometimes series 8, but probably the least of those 3, 9. But either way, like, I really like Peter Capaldi as the Doctor, and I do still miss him. So maybe that's why, because they're more of a comforting thing. A lot of those stories, or that sort of era, or him as the Doctor, is definitely a comfort. I think he's just that kind of dude. And or person even, both on screen and off, you know, a very comforting person probably, or that's the impression that I get even just on screen about Peter Capaldi. So you know, so again in my mind those things feel like only like a year or two ago, yet series 12 of Doctor Who feels like 200 years ago. Like, it feels so much further away. And then as for Flux, well, that was the first series that sort of aired whilst we were here in a new house, so, you know. So again, kind of weird that, like, you know, Flux, and it was sort of latter end, you know, sort of October. It was only 6 episodes, so 4, 5, 6. So, like, October, I think it started on Halloween because of it being called Halloween Apocalypse, or the Halloween Apocalypse even. And then yeah, you got like 6 episodes and serialized, of course, and as they say, the rest is history, I suppose, with that one. But it it was latter end of last year, so sort of the winter time then. But then the last 2 episodes have kind of been winter-esque as well, like New Year's Day. It's still obviously quite dark and sort of you're in the winter then. And then Sea Devil 1 was obviously in sort of March, was it? Or was it in April? I can't remember now. But either way, it was sort of springtime. And someone pointed out on Twitter, which I thought was very interesting, which was that episode was the first episode of Jodie Whittaker's era to ever be broadcast whilst it was still light outside, which is kind of bonkers, because I associate Doctor Who with sort of summertime and also it being light outside. And it's kind of bonkers to think like Pete Capaldi's Doctor is way more darker than say Jodie Whittaker's Doctor, right? And yet his episodes, a lot of his will have aired, sort of like, I don't know, like 6, 7 o'clock ish, or like anywhere between 6 and 8 ish. Let's say, but it would have still been light out, during the summertime, and yet he's the darker Doctor and the sort of grungier, sort of abrasive Doctor, and yet when you go to Jodie, she's a lot more sort of the optimist and the beacon of hope and the light in the darkness sort of thing, sort of character, the sort of never fading fire and or never fading sort of candle in the dark, in the darkness of the darkest room you've ever been in, sort of thing, is the vibe that I get from Jodie's Doctor, and yet all of her episodes, or a big chunk of her run / episodes, will have been aired in the dark, because they were on at like 7, 8 o'clock during the winter time. It always came out. Like, again, series 11 as well, I can kind of remember, I think series 12 might be the exception to the rule then, that like it came out beginning of the year, so like it partly feels wintry, but it also kind of feels a bit springy, because, a bit like we were in spring, because I guess you kind of, you had 10 episodes, so like by the time you got to around March, the sort of end, literally the last 2 or 3 episodes or so, you kind of feel like you're more in spring than you do winter, and that you're kind of coming out of the dark, as it were. But then, series 11, like that first episode, Woman Who Fell to Earth, that feels like a winter episode of Doctor Who to me now. Like I associate, when I think of like the latter end of the year, I think of Woman Who Fell to Earth, and likewise with Flux in the future, I'll probably think of a lot of Flux as like, Halloween, sort of October, November time Doctor Who, I mean, obviously, a traditional good episode to watch on Halloween would be Ghostlight, obviously, but Halloween Apocalypse is obviously a good one to watch on that day, considering the title and some references here and there to the, I don't know if you really class it as a holiday, but yeah. What was I going to say? Well, I don't know. I might be trying to downsize some of these DVDs. I don't want them anymore, I don't think. Or some of them, maybe. I might be getting rid of some. It's just obviously a lot of stuff's on streaming now, so that's the thing that's maybe going to happen. I was also thinking, before I started the original recording of this video, I was thinking of maybe recording my video on my camera. I'm using a video camera now, but I actually have a camera for like taking pictures. It's just an SLR. It's not even a DSLR. It's nothing really super duper fancy. It's my first ever camera of that variety, like a one to actually just take pictures with. But it does do video. This takes pictures as well, but they're not very good. But then I was thinking, I wonder if the video quality on the camera would be better than this, though. That's what I was thinking. Although, that being said, if that's the case, then I guess maybe I could get rid of this as well. Obviously, I'd have to get rid of this video and the subsequent videos I've recorded on here, and then upload them to the channel, and then, you know, do that. But yeah, I was also thinking of maybe getting rid of some, if not all, of my Xbox 360 games, because, you know, I don't have an Xbox 360 anymore. Well, I do, but it don't work, or it might work, but it needs a new cable or something. I can't remember what the issue is actually specifically, but I just distinctly remember trying to keep playing Far Cry 3 on it, and then it just kind of overheated and then would stop working or like turn itself off, which is a bit annoying to say the least. Considering that Xbox I didn't have for that long, I had it for like maybe a year or two or whatever, which sounds like a long time, but the white Xbox 360 I had originally was like super duper old, was the one that I played like, you know, easily like anywhere between 500 to 800 hours probably, maybe, or like a lot of hours on Halo Reach back in the day at secondary school. I used to just run home and play that all the time. And yeah, in that sense, I was surprised that one lasted so long, because again, it was like just a beast of a machine in that sense. I don't think I ever got Red Ring of Death, or if it did, it kind of like bounced back from it. Whereas like the one that I'm on about that needed like a new wire cable thing and words and stuff was kind of naff in the sense that it was a newer model. It was like, it was pre-owned probably, but it was a newer model in the sense that it was like the black one with a bunch of fans and vents on the top. So I never really understood why it was kind of having a weird hissy fit in that sense. But yeah, that was, as I say, very annoying in that sense. But yeah. Yeah, I feel like the last chunk of this video, I'll just go over some about, it's not, I don't know if it's classed as personal, I don't know, but I might be very vague about these things because of that being a thing, but it's a case of like, some stuff from my personal life, big stuff has happened, quite a few things in the like, so how many months past. But what is weird is like, I feel like I'm in this weird purgatory sort of limbo state where like, it's like I don't have like those things are kind of in the past, so they're done. But like moving forward, there are some things that are kind of sort of things that are coming up and are a little bit weird and a little bit different from where I'm at now. But where I'm at now is just like, as I say, in this weird purgatory limbo state, which is a bit weird to say out loud, but like, I don't know, it's hard to really explain, but that's the only way I can really explain it, I suppose. But yeah, yeah, very strange. Yeah. Yeah, this is first new news I've done over here in the new house of this sort of variety. I mean, I've done new news videos. These other types of new news videos that I do, where they're kind of just like pick up videos slash sort of random updates slash pick up videos of like random geeky nerdy action figures I've picked up from a shop called like Cosmic Toys over in Dewsbury. Shout out to that place, or like anywhere else for that matter. You know, if I go to I don't know, like a Doctor Who museum or something, and there was a lot of merch there and that, and I pick up a bunch of stuff there, then obviously I'd do a video on, today I got, you know, this Doctor Who poster and this thing and that thing and da-da-da-da-da and all this stuff. But yeah, that being said about Doctor Who posters, this one is a bit of an odd one to me, because it's like, I like the poster, I like the design of it, it's very authentic to the episode and the time period the episode is set in, the Victorian times, but it's weird in the sense that it's like, obviously it don't really match with literally anything else in the room. So like, you've just randomly got like a TARDIS there, some Splatoon stuff, and really old retro sort of Fantastic Four, big huge ass poster and that. Like, don't get me wrong, I really like this poster because of the artwork and how retro it is and that. And then also it's kind of like, you know, sort of ties in with the rest of some of the Marvel stuff. You know, like Spider-Woman 1 and Deadpool vs Thanos. And then you've got some of the Doctor Who art cards, for Series 5, which again doesn't feel like that long ago. Like 2010 does not feel like, 10 plus years ago. Well, 10, 11, 12 years ago now. Yeah, that's fucking bonkers. That's a little bit unnerving, because again, it doesn't feel, 2010 does not feel like 12 years ago. In my mind, it feels like literally just yesterday. But yeah, as I say, like 2020 feels like 200 years ago, like, because of the whole COVID thing. I haven't really talked about COVID here on the channel that much, but then again, everyone was talking about COVID all of the time, everywhere, which makes sense because it was a shared experience worldwide. But and then you've got the Series 10, sort of, well, I wouldn't say they're art cards, but weird lenticular, is that the right word? Sort of cards, 3D flashy card things. That was the thing that I just said. But yeah, you can kind of see like John Sim turn into, or Missy turn into John Sim, and then Bill turns into the Cyberman, or the Cyberman even, and then you see Peter sort of flash up a bunch of regener energy into his face hole. I don't know why he's doing that. But yeah, yeah, wow, this has been a massive, long-winded, stupid video. If you've enjoyed that for some reason, please feel free to comment, rate, and subscribe to the channel. Wow, this is 26 minutes long. Even I won't watch this back, I don't think. It'll be very, very rare. Or it'd be very rare. Very unlikely and very rare that I would do that. If I could actually speak, that would be great. But yeah, bye.